In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up the Google Tag Manager for WordPress. I'm Stan Scrabbit. I'm from Tubarks Consulting. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I think Google Analytics is essential to running your digital campaigns. It lets you see what's going on. And in the past, I've also had Google Analytics loaded directly into my WordPress site. But after reading Google Analytics Breakthrough, I discovered that there's a better way, and that's with the Google Tag Manager. And the Google Tag Manager allows you the flexibility to add tags from different sources, from Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel, and many others, into your Google Tag Manager that will be delivered from your site. So you can separate having to go into the code and possibly breaking things, where you can very easily add these additional tags to keep an eye on your site. So let's show you how to do that. Step one is setting up your Google Tag Manager. Probably the easiest way to find the Google Tag Manager is in your address bar, typing in Google Tag Manager and doing a search. The first option is Tag Management Solutions, and I would select that. And it'll bring this page up. And if you've never been here before, you're going to have to basically sign up for free and go through that process. I have already signed up, so I'm going to simply sign in to the Google Tag Manager. All right, so that is selected, and I will sign in and select the Tag Manager. And this will sign me in under my account. As you can see, I already have one account created, but what I manage a number of different accounts, so I'm going to set this up for other accounts that I personally manage. To do that, I'm going to create an account. And I will basically give it my company name, or in this case, it's my blog. And let me make it more specific. My Tubarks blog. Okay. I have an option to share data anonymously with Google and others. I will do that and select continue. It's going to ask me for my website. And in this case, it will be tubarksblog.com. And this is a web address or container that I'm going to set up. And I select create. There are terms of service. Once you have approved those, and I will select yes, it will now give me information for setting up my Google Tag Manager and setting it up in the header where I can go paste this particular code. Okay, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to use a plugin for WordPress because that's what I'm using, and I will then use that particular code. So I'm going to just select OK, and I can always get back to that later if I want. So what I need now is that particular code, and here it is at the top of my page, and I will get that. So what I found the easiest way is to go back to my home page, and here is that new Tubarks blog, and there is the particular code that I will need in the future, and we'll come back to that. So that is setting up a Google Tag Manager account, and that's the first step that we have to work on. Before we move on to the next step, I want to show you how you can check to make sure everything is working like you expect it to. So here I have brought up my website, and I have the Google Tag Assistant running on my Chrome browser. And when I select that Google Tag Assistant, it will show that I have the Google Analytics running on my site. So that's a good thing. That's where I'm at right now, and I want, Google Analytics to be running. But I want to switch over to the Google Tag Manager, and I want to make sure that Google Analytics is going to be running in the end. So we're going to kind of walk through this in steps. And so now we are going to add the Google Tag Manager. Step 2, setting up Google Tag Manager for WordPress. In order to make this work, or the option that I choose is to add the Google Tag Manager for WordPress. As you can see already in my blog, or on my blog, I am running the WordPress plugin for Google Analytics dashboard. And what I'm going to do is actually I'll end up removing that. But before I do that, I want to add the Google Tag Manager. So I'm going to go to Add New, search for Google Tag Manager, and the first option is Duracell Tomi's Google Tag Manager for WordPress. This is the one that I want. So I'm going to install that. And there's just a lot of features to that particular tag manager that I liked. And now I will activate that. And so now we have Google Tag Manager for WordPress. I'll go ahead and select Settings. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is put the Google Tag Manager ID. So we're going to go back to Google Tag Manager. So we want this, and we want that particular ID. So I'm going to copy that, go back to my Tag Manager, and insert that. There's different options on how the code will be placed. So that'll be step 3, and we'll talk about that. But that is getting the Google Tag Manager plugin installed, the one for WordPress. Well, I'm going to click on Custom and Save Changes. Step 3 is adding the actual code into the web page. And this may be something that, if you have somebody else managing your site, this is something that they would do. And they would probably do these first parts. You would give them the Google Tag Manager code. They would insert this, get it all set up, and then you can go manage the Google Tag Manager. But what I'm going to do is I'm using custom, and I'm going to copy this particular code. So I have that copied, and I am going to go to Appearance and select Editor. And so now I'm going to go to the header page of my site, the theme header. What I want to do is right before the header tag, I want to copy or paste that piece of code. And there it is. And I will now update the file. And if everything works, I can go back to my website, refresh it, and I should be able to go to my Google Tag Assistant, select it, and I will see that the Tag Manager is set up. And right now it's telling me that I have empty or unpublished container. So that is something that we will fix next. But this is letting me know that I'm on the right track. So the Google Tag Manager is loaded. Step 4, we're going to now add the Google Analytics tag to the Google Tag Manager. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to go back to the Google Tag Manager and select the account we want to work with. And we have lots of options that we can work with. We are going to add a new tag. So we'll select that. First thing that you want to do is give your tag a name. So Google Analytics, that just makes sense to me. The tag configuration, we will choose a tag type to begin with. Now, Google has provided all kinds of different tags to make it easy and give you options for doing this as simple as possible. Some of the more logical ones, like Facebook, apparently they don't get along with Facebook that well. They didn't include, but we'll show you how to do that in another video. But what I want to do is click on Universal Analytics. This is basically adding the Google tag. Track type is going to be for the page view. And the next thing I want to do is set up my variable. And this is going to be the ID number that Google Analytics provides. So I will go ahead and click on New Variable. And this is where I put my tracking ID. So we'll call this, my GA variable. And now I need to go get that. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to my analytics and click on Admin. And from there, select Property Settings. And that will give me the variable that I want to track. So I'll go ahead and copy that. Go back to Google Analytics and paste that. See if there's more settings. I think we're good to go. And I will save this. It's important to save the different steps as you're working through those. So now we have the GA variable, and the next thing we have to do is set up a trigger. And in order to do that, we'll click on Triggers, and I want this to go for all pages. So I'll select the all pages, and I will then click on Save. So I have down here in my workspace changes my GA variable and Google Analytics. The next thing, these are all in test. This allows you to check it to see if everything is working right. So you can go to Preview, and I'm redoing my page. Tags fired on this page is Google Analytics, fired one time. All right, so that's what I want to make sure that it's working and going properly. And there's no tags that did not fire, so that is a good thing. All right, so the next thing I will do is click on Submit, and that will publish this version of the Google Tag Manager. So this allows you to test tags to make sure that they're working properly, and then deploy them. So what I will call this is Tubarks blog, and this is the 4th of Feb 2018. And so this will publish to my live environment, and I will click on Publish. And we should be good to go, right? So that's letting me know everything I've done. I've got one tag, one variable, and we are in a good shape. And real quick, in order to leave the debug mode, basically I'll go back to my Google Tag Manager and select Leave Preview Mode. And that will turn that off for the site. And as I go back to my website and refresh that, that'll remove the debug mode. Okay, and then I'm back to business. So the Google Tag Manager is happy, and I'm getting a warning on the Google Analytics. So let's go look at that. So it says the same web property ID is changed twice. So that means that the Google Analytics ID is working properly, but it's being loaded twice. So that's the last step, is to remove the old one. So we are, once again, still in good shape. The last step in the process that I want to do is to remove that other Google Analytics ID. So here's step 5 of that process, cleaning up the tags on my site. So first thing I do is go down to the Google Analytics dashboard and deactivate. So now that is turned off, and I can then delete it. So I'm going to delete that particular plugin. There's no sense having a plugin that you're not going to use. So I've removed that. So let's go back to the website and refresh. And if I look at my Google Tag Assistant, it is now very happy. I have my Google Tag Manager and I have my Google Analytics. So this, as I was explaining, it took a little longer, but within 5 minutes, you should be able to have this set up. And I can then add other tags to the Google Tag Manager for my site, which I will show in another video. So hopefully you found this useful. My site's up and running. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to subscribe. So click the subscribe button. And if there's anything that I need to explain better, throw it in the comments, or anything that you want to share, any advice that you want to put in there, throw it into the comments. I'd be greatly appreciated. So please like, subscribe, and share, and add comments. That'd be great. And share with your friends. If you know somebody that can use this, please share with them. Thank you very much.